Hello everyone, I'm Rachel, a Radical Soul Untangled. So I'm going to do another one of those cycle maker spreads because again we want to focus more on bringing in good stuff and good energies into our lives rather than just focusing on what problems we have and how we can deal with them. Uh, so I'm going to use for the Oracle card from the Oracle of the Seven Energies to get an idea of what we have for our overall energy that we want to bring in, positive energy we want to start bringing into our lives. And then I'll draw 4 tarot cards to clarify what kind of energies we have either working with us or working against us, how we can flip them to our advantage. So first I'll do some shuffling for this one. Ooh, got a good fly up. Yay. We've got a Grand Symphony. I get this one a lot, but I like that. So it's you see a green border on here, number 27. So this means this is a very heart-centered kind of energy, a Grand Symphony. And so we see like 4 trumpets, almost like gramophone kind of trumpets, and then a little horn here off on the side. And we've got a little hummingbird and some leaves all around. I feel like the leaves are kind of flowing in the air with like the music, so we have some musical notes. And I think the thing to consider with a symphony is that there's multiple players, you know, in the orchestra. You need an orchestra to play a grand symphony. And so you need many players to come together and play in harmony. However, they're all playing different instruments. They're all playing even different, like, you know, different notes at different paces, but it all comes together, you know, beautifully. All right, so not everybody has to be doing the exact same thing for things to be running smoothly. And I can even read the card real quick. That helps. But that's my general interpretation of that card. Like I said, I got it a couple times. As human beings, we have a tendency to see ourselves as separate from others. This perception is the root of a cosmic joke played on us all. Although our 5 senses and intellect can help us manage our experiences in the material world, and intuition helps us navigate the invisible, we still struggle with the issue of identity and how we fit into the whole. You're facing a paradox today. You need to focus on being your unique self, for only you can bring your own special harmony to the symphony of the world. But equally, you need to learn to be selfless and put we before me, seeing yourself as part of the consciousness that unifies us all. You're being invited to step back and see the bigger picture until your individual part on the world stage disappears and blends with the glory of all life. It's true that who you are and what you do counts in far-reaching ways. Consider this, though. When you listen to music, it's the whole, not any one single note on its own, that makes the song come alive. So today, ask yourself, is it awkward? Yeah, no, keep it off screen, sorry. So today, ask yourself, can you be a part of something bigger? Can you put the principles and needs of the group above your own wants? Not above your own needs, but above your own wants. That's my little caveat there. Can you fully embrace the concept of unity in diversity by celebrating all the notes of the symphony? If so, then you need to be wise, and whatever you are dreaming about will be fulfilled beyond your wildest hopes. It's time to do your part to sing in harmony with others. Stay in tune and learn the new harmonies and notes. Such sweetness will arise. All right. Just so you guys know, when I read out loud, it's like I have a very limited ability before I start to really stumble on the words. I have like low-key dyslexia, it feels like. And so I always hate reading out loud. But anyway, I think, yeah, that kind of echoes a lot of what I was saying just in my interpretation of looking at the card. This card means, um, you know, you're part of a greater whole, and don't lose sight of that. And we all have different parts to play. We all have different notes to play. We all have our own different timing, or so it would seem, but it's still part of the same song, and you still need to appreciate it for all its parts, even if it's not your favorite instrument to listen to. All right, and so what kind of energies do we have supporting or hindering us? Let's see. I'll focus more on a supportive energy with this. Oh, okay. Oh, we got 7 of Cups. Oh, jeez. That's too many. I like when a big chunk kind of comes out. Maybe if 2 come out, that's fine, but I feel like I have really small hands. So I'm going to do just a couple more passes, and then I'm just going to cut the deck. Okay, all right. We have 3 of Swords. Okay. Boy, that comes up a lot lately. Knight of Wands. And the 2 of Wands. Okay. So we got to consider we're playing our part in the symphony. We're contributing to a greater whole. That's the kind of energy we're trying to bring in. How do we contribute to this greater whole? And what kind of energies do we have going with us and going against us? So we have the 7 of Cups. And this is the, should be the crown chakra, because this is the 7. So this is, coming in with a connection of divine. 7 of Cups usually is about choice. And sometimes it can kind of mean like, confusion, or could have some anxiety about making the wrong choice, especially in terms of like the emotions, like an emotional choice. Not necessarily romantic, but that's usually, that's commonly how it's interpreted. But here she's just kind of lying there. She doesn't look overly preoccupied. Like, some cards will show it with somebody like, or looking very distressed, trying to make this choice. She's looking straight at us. She's not looking at the cups. So it's kind of telling us that she already knows the right choice in her heart. She's not confused at all, because this is a crown chakra card. So she is actually tapped in with her own inner divine, and has probably really deeply meditated on the issue. And while there might be a lot of choices for her, in her heart she has a good idea of which choice is the right one for her. So that's what I see there. So yeah, you might have a lot of choices, and you might superficially think it's all very confusing, but if you really learn to go within and even pray about it, even just say, I feel like this is the right choice. Give me a sign that this is the right choice, or, am I making the, in your prayers, ask God or the angels or whatever higher power you believe in, like, I think I'm making the right choice. What do you think? How, and really just learn how to discern. This is about building your discernment. And there's like a difference between like discernment and judgment. Sometimes it's used kind of interchangeably. Sometimes judgment is said when people mean discernment. And that means knowing what choices are right and wrong for you, or for a given situation, and not putting a judgment like, well, that's a bad thing, well, that's a good thing. But just going, in this situation, for myself, or for, the people I'm involved with, or whatever, I believe this is what's in our highest and best good, so you're not judging things as inherently or intrinsically right and wrong, good or bad. Your discernment is really only concerned of, does this serve my highest and best good at this moment? And so you kind of, that's an energy we need to build. That's an energy that will really support this. I can go into that a little more later. And we have 3 of Swords, but in the reverse. So this is about letting go of heartache. So we'll see here. So we see the swords going into the heart, but she doesn't look devastated about it. She almost looks like she's expected it. Like, yep, knew this was going to happen. And this is yellow, so in the 3s. So that's just very much the 3rd chakra. That's the solar plexus chakra. It's sometimes telling you that heartache and breakup or painful breakups or betrayals actually can help give you a clear understanding of who you are, of what you're about. I say, do I want to hold this as I talk about it in reverse to remind us that this is in the reverse? Because I take it to mean in this case in the reverse that we kind of want it in the reverse. We want it to be that you're getting over this idea of heartache, either like, if it wasn't for disappointment, I wouldn't expect any other appointment. Sorry, that's what they might be Giant song lyrics. If it wasn't for bad luck, I'd have no luck. You're kind of, it can be even kind of a victim mentality. You're kind of learning that you need to, or this is telling us that we need to let go of this victim mentality. Like I could say all day long, oh, I've been married twice. I could just keep saying, oh, I married 2 different kinds of narcissists, and that might be true in a sense, but that also keeps me in a victim mentality, or saying like I was in an abusive, emotionally abusive relationship, or things like that. Well, that's just, again, kind of might be true. It's not to invalidate you. It's not to say that you didn't suffer or anything like that, or that you weren't victimized, but it's kind of keeps you in that victim mentality when because you're stuck in that heartache. You're stuck in that sense of betrayal. And anytime you think about it, you're actually reactivating that trauma in your mind. So it's actually, it's helpful for a time. It's good for a short time in your life as you come to grips, if you've come out of a bad relationship like that was legitimately abusive, emotionally, financially, psychologically, whatever, physically, there's a time that you need to know that it wasn't your fault. It was more about them than about you and all that. But you do eventually have to stop identifying with that heartache if you really want to heal, if you really want to move forward. Because when we stay stuck in heartache, then we're so stuck in our own pain, we become kind of obsessed with our own pain, so we can't contribute to a greater symphony. We can't contribute more as much of our potential as we could, because so much of our energy is stuck dealing with this pain if we stay in it. So this is reminding us that we need to come out of that pain, and it gives us a clearer sense of who we are, because it tells us what we don't want in a relationship, or even though this is swords, it's not technically a relationship card. This is just very much about feelings of being betrayed, and heartbreak. So we can kind of get stuck in these stories of heartbreak and everything. Why do I always attract assholes? Why do I always date jerks? It takes, if you stay stuck in that story, you kind of make it a self-fulfilling prophecy, so this is saying let go of those old stories and build, keep building your discernment. And then the 3rd energy, Knight of Wands. So Knight of Wands is about, we've had this before, so kind of confident, charging forward, a lot of creative energy. Although this deck usually portrays all the knights are blue, so blue being the throat chakra. So they're, in a way, they're also kind of like bringing messages. Knights are also like, in a sense, messengers. sometimes people will say pages are messengers too, because, you know, when you page someone, and I guess that was like their original function. But how it just works out in this deck, it has knights as messengers because they're kind of spreading their message farther, you know, from kingdom to kingdom, you know, whereas pages, it's more of a local message, like, you know, person to person, you know. So in this case, this is like spreading a message far and wide. So maybe this is about, you know, speaking up for yourself in creative ways, pursuing a creative endeavor, and passionately charging in with it, you know. So you see, he's very dynamic. And at first I thought he was in water because the background, and there is that water in the background, or is that sand? You know, it's a little hard to tell because everything is blue. There's a lot of vapor around him, but he's very armored up. So you do have, you know, a little bit of defensiveness, but he holds his wand up high victoriously as he's kind of charging in with a lot of energy, you know, to deliver this message about something he's just really passionate about. So I think this is maybe, I'll probably pick up a little more later as I read this next one. But this Knight of Wands, I believe, is saying, you know, don't be afraid to pursue your own passions. Because, yeah, we don't want, sometimes with how the Symphony card can be, you might be so preoccupied with, well, I gotta be helpful, I gotta be useful, I've gotta contribute. So this is reminding you that you have your own passions to pursue, and that's not necessarily selfish. In fact, you pursuing those passions will serve the greater whole because you will bring your own flavor, you know, to it. Because it's not just a matter of musicians playing their own assigned set of notes and their own time signatures. I'm not a musician, so I'm probably butchering this metaphor a bit. If you are a music person, please be patient with me. Please forgive me. But also every player plays, you know, has their own, you know, flavor. You know, listening to a concerto by Itzhak Perlman, you know, violin concerto by him, is different than listening to it by another person that's famous for playing the violin that I can't think of off the top of my head. Thinking of her Asian, I can't think of it right now. But anyway, like, listen to they're playing the same notes, they're playing the same, you know, part in the concerto, but, you know, their playing is still radically different from each other. And that's part of the beauty, is to pursue your own passions. Don't try to force yourself to fit in, you know, and don't confuse being part of a symphony as needing to conform. You know, it's like the card said, there also is a need for diversity as well. And then we have the Two of Wands. And so with the Two of Wands, that's kind of about, again, about creativity, about choices, about exploring options. But kind of like a decision has been, you know, made already. Like Two of Swords is more about, oh, you have this dilemma, this is more like, yeah, you have a couple options and you already kind of, you're still, you're not 100% on it, but you're fairly certain which direction you want to go in. You're pretty close to making that decision. And so, and then this is the sacral energy. So this is the creative energy again. So, there's a lot of creativity here because this is the Wand suit. So this is kind of about pursuing your passion, pursuing your truth. Again, I like to think of blue as not just throat and speaking, but speaking truthfully. So this is kind of embodies like pursuing your truth, you know, moving forward with it passionately, and explore your own creative endeavors, you know, and don't be so locked up in the idea that, well, I'm this kind of creative person, you know, I'm a knitter, I'm a sculptor. I'm a painter. I draw. You know, this is also kind of encouraging you to explore various options, you know, creative options for you. Don't be too locked in with one, but still, if you have a good idea of what you want to do to contribute, um, by all means, you know, trust your discernment. I feel like these energies actually really go well together, you know, because this is about you having a lot of choices, but with this crown chakra, and by consulting the divine with both within and without, you know, so um, strengthening your own intuition, and then kind of linking with the divine outside, you know, opening yourself up to divine guidance in prayer, you know, or meditation, then you actually can just look straight ahead like, no, I know which one's the right cup. I know which one's the right cup. Or I know that there's no right cup. All the cups are right. You know, there's another way of putting it. So you either know what's right for you, or you know you can't screw it up. That's another very important concept that I had to internalize. We get so afraid. Oh, yeah. We get so afraid of making the wrong choice. We don't trust ourselves, and we feel like the consequences are so massive. What if we make the wrong choice? So we ask a bunch of people and we consult all kinds of different sources, which isn't a bad thing unless, you know, unless it ends up adding to your confusion and uncertainty. If you end up overwhelming yourself by doing that, then that means that's a clear indication that you need to take the time to step away from outside sources for a while. Like, just trust it. You've already accumulated enough knowledge resources for that. So you can chill. You know, you can take a break from that for now and reflect on those different options and really weigh them out, and just quiet your mind and see which one brings you the most clarity, which one brings you the most peace, which one gives you the most anxiety, then let it go. um, you know, and if you need to revisit it later, you can always do that. But ultimately, learning that there's really no wrong choice. Um, and I think that might also be part of, you know, that certainty, that look that she's giving us isn't might not be that she knows, oh, I know which one's the right one. It's her going, they're all the right one, depending on what's for my highest and best good, ultimately. We have this letting go. I like that this is the only one in reverse. That's interesting. The letting go of your heart, stories of heartache, you know, of betrayal, letting go of those old stories. Like I said, they were helpful for a time. It's not to say you should never be in this. Just don't keep yourself there. A lot of us keep ourselves stuck in that kind of energy for a very, very long time, for much longer that's necessary, and we end up just reliving those traumas. So this is saying release that Three of Swords energy. Release those stories of heartache, betrayal. Start writing a new story. You know, start charging forward passionately about things that you actually want. We already know what you don't want in a relationship, or in whatever else that might have been just deeply disappointing, you know, whatever other kind of endeavor in your life or thing that just didn't go out according to your plans. You know, or even like a death in the family, you know, grieve, grieve properly, but then keep moving forward. Yeah, keep moving forward. Don't forget who you are. Pursue your truth, pursue it passionately, and with a lot of energy. When you feel that energy to do it, just go with it, you know, but don't force it. If you don't have that energy in that moment, if you need to go back and reflect on things, by all means do that. Because ultimately, you know, you have options. You can weigh those options, but you have a pretty good idea of what you want, but you're still open to make another choice if that's necessary. And so, again, these are different ways that we can heal our hearts so that we can contribute to a greater whole, and not through conforming, but through pursuing our own, by reaching our greater potential day by day, not all at once, but day by day, getting a few steps closer to understanding what our real potential is. And that's how we contribute to the Grand Symphony. So anyway, I hope this makes sense. Some of you, I hope this resonates. If it does, any comments, likes, subscribes are greatly appreciated at this point. And if you'd like to consult me to book your own private reading of some sort about an issue that you're struggling with, yeah, I'll have my email and my Facebook page in the comments. And feel free to contact me and we can work something out. I do personal recorded readings and I'll have my prices in the description as well. So anyway, thank you so much for your time, your attention, and for watching this. I really appreciate it. So I'm Rachel, a Radical Soul Entangled. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.